Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I am back with an acrylic nail fill. So first thing I'm going to do is remove all her gel polish, and I am using my gold fine drill bit, which you can find on eBay. And as you can see, I have a little lifting on this nail, so all you want to do is just get your file and file around there. You want to make sure you don't file too hard though, because you don't want to leave a little ring of fire on their nail. So just file enough to where you get that lifted part off. Also, you don't want to use nippers for this part because you will cause the nail to lift more. So remember, just take it off with the electric file. So yeah, once again, I'm using my gold fine drill bit, which you can find on eBay. Alrighty, so now we're going to go in with this pink cuticle pusher, which you can find at Sally's, and we're just going to push back the cuticles. And after we do so, we're going to go in and remove the shine from the natural nail. Alrighty, so now as you can see, I'm going to be taking out my drill bit and switching it out for a sanding bit, and then I'm also putting a new sanding band on there. And that's just for sanitation reasons. You want to make sure you switch it out after every client. So we're just going to remove the shine from the natural nail, and remember, you don't want to file too hard. You just simply want to take that shine off the natural nail. Alrighty, and as always, I'm using my MIASECRET acrylic system. This is my liquid, and then I have my little powder in a little glass container, and then I'm using my OPI Artist Series acrylic brush, and I'm applying my OPI primer, which you can find on eBay, and I'll leave the link in the description to all of this. Alrighty, so the first thing I'm going to do is dip my brush into the liquid and wipe it off. Then I'm going to dip it, wipe it off, and dip it into the powder. Then I'm going to apply my bead closely to the cuticle area, pat it around, and brush it down towards the tip. And remember to always go back and clean that cuticle area. You want to make sure you get any acrylic off the cuticle because that will cause lifting. And remember, you kind of just want to add wherever you need it. You don't have to stick to a certain method. Alrighty, so once again, we dip our brush into the liquid, then into the powder. Place your bead closest to the cuticle area, pat it down, and then brush it down. And remember, clean those cuticle areas really good. As you can see, that acrylic started running to the cuticle, but you want to push it back onto the nail and wipe the remainder off and onto your paper towel. And remember, you just kind of want to add as you go. Make sure you don't add too much because you don't want to be doing a lot of filing. And I always tell people to look at your nail. If it looks like you have a little dent in there, just go back and add a little bit more to that little spot. Don't just add to the whole nail because you're going to add a lot of thickness to it. So remember, just add wherever you need it, not to the whole nail. So we're going to dip our brush into the liquid, into the powder, place your bead down, pat it around, and gently brush it down. You also want to remember that you don't want to brush down too hard because you don't want to take that acrylic off the nail. You just want to brush it on there really slightly and clean around the cuticles. So after the acrylic application, we're gonna just reshape the nail, and I am using my 100 nail file, which I have available on my website. And as you can see, we're gonna file the sides at a 45-degree angle, and then the tip we're gonna file at a 90-degree angle. So as you can see, that helps make that tip really straight. We don't want it rounded off at the corners or anything, so that's why we're filing at a 90 degrees angle, and then the sides at a 45. So once we're done reshaping the nail, we're going to go in with our e-file, and this is my new e-file. I'll leave the link in the description. And then I'm using my same fine drill bit, which you could also find on eBay. So as you can see, we're going to focus on that cuticle area, because remember, you want to make sure that you don't have any lifting, so you don't want to have any little gaps in the cuticle area, because that's where your water will get in, which will cause your nail to lift. So you just want to gently make that circular motion around the back of the cuticle, just to get all that acrylic off the cuticles if you do have any. So once again, we're going to file really gently around the cuticle area. Make sure you don't cut them. And then also, once you're done with the cuticle area, you just file the rest of the nail, just to make sure you don't have any little bumps or lumps. And also, whenever you're filing the cuticle area, you want to make sure that you see their cuticle, the natural nail, and the acrylic. You want to be able to see their natural nail, because that's how you know that the acrylic is not over the cuticles. Alrighty, so now I'm just gonna buff the nails, and I'm using this little two-way buffer that I got from my local nail supply store. So yeah, whenever you're buffing, you're basically just getting any little scratches off the nail, because if you don't, then you will be able to see any little bump or any little scratch over the polish. So you want to make sure you smooth them out really good, and then after this we're just gonna dust them off and wipe them off, and we'll be ready for the polish application. So I am using this Pure White by La Palm, and this is a regular polish. Whenever I do my ombres, I always use regular polish. So we're gonna polish these nails with this pure white polish by La Palm, and you can find these on eBay, so I'll leave the link in the description. They come 2 in 1, so you get a gel polish and a regular gel polish for only about $6 to $8. I really can't remember, but they're on eBay, and once again I'll leave the link in the description. So yeah, we're gonna do her ring finger, her index finger, and her thumb with this white, and then we're gonna do the same thing to the other hand. So I want to mention that whenever I'm doing ombre, I only do 1 coat of that white, just to make sure that by the time I get to the actual ombre, that the white is nice and dry. So once again, I'm only doing 1 coat of this white. And then for her pinky, I'll be using this Broadway blue polish, which I found at my local Dollar General. So that would be for the pinky. So I'm just going to polish this pinky with this blue, and then we're gonna start with our ombre. So for our ombre, I'm using a makeup wedge sponge, which you can find really at Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Walmart, wherever. So I'm gonna apply that blue and that lemon juice nail polish by D&D, and I'm gonna apply it on a brush, and as you can see, or on the sponge, and as you can see, I'm just gonna dab it onto the nail. You want to make sure that you just keep doing that until you get that coverage that you want. So I'm just going to keep applying the polish onto the sponge, and for this one I just turn my sponge upside down so it would be the opposite. Instead of blue to green, it would be green to blue. So instead of using another sponge, I just turned this one around, and I'm doing the same thing, just dabbing it on the nail. And remember, just keep going back and adding polish to your sponge to get a more coverage. So yeah, we're just gonna keep dabbing it onto the nail, and a lot of the time you just need to, especially if your polish is thick, you just do like this about 2 or 3 times and then let it dry and then come back to it. But these 2 polishes were really thin, so I had to go back and do quite a few coats. So then we're going to do the same thing to the thumb, and you also want to keep going back and cleaning around the cuticle area, because you don't want it to build up. You don't want the polish to build up around that cuticle area. So once again, we just apply the polish onto the sponge and then dab the sponge onto the nail. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go in and add a little bit of glitter to this pinky, and it's just going to be like an ombre effect. So this glitter is by Ruby Kiss. I'm really not sure if they still even sell this polish. I had it since I first started. And then I went back in and added a little bit more glitter by NYC, and it didn't have a name on the bottle because it was old too. So any little blue glitter that you have will work for this. But even if you don't do the glitter, it still looks really good with just that ombre effect. Alrighty, so now after we do the glitter on the middle finger, I'm going to do a couple of rhinestones. So we're just going to basically do the outline of the nail, and I'm using different size rhinestones. So I'm using my SS6, SS12, and I believe I threw in an SS16 right at the top in the middle close to the cuticle area. And then I'm going to use the bigger like triangular looking rhinestones, which I have available on my website pretty soon. So yeah, I'm using my MIASECRET nail resin as well as this wax pencil, and once again we're just going to do the outline, and then we're going to do some of that same blue glitter in the middle of the nail. Alrighty, and I know I've also had people asking me before if you can use gel polish over regular polish, and as you can see, all of these polishes were regular polishes. So as you can see, I'm going to check to make sure it's dry. So I rubbed on the nail and it was completely dry. So I'm going to apply my gel top coat, and now I'm using my IBD. Is that what it's called? Yeah, IBD gel sealer, and it is a non-cleanse. So remember, you want to make sure you feel on the nail, make sure that it is 100% dry, because if it's not, it will crack if you do that gel polish over it. So once again, you want to make sure it's really dry, and then you can add your gel polish over that regular polish, and then we're going to cure this for 60 seconds. Alrighty, so now I'm just going to apply my cuticle oil, and this is the clear pineapple cuticle oil that I have available on my website, so check that out. And yes, this is the final look. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Came out really pretty. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos to come.